your place for radiant wellness and soul-forward living. Join your host, Jess Juntunen, quantum healer, intuitive, and midwife to the awakening spirit, as we dive into quantum tools, wisdom teachings, and integrated healing pathways for transformation. You can live a life of freedom to be without limitation. Cozy up, grab your tea, and enjoy this hour of expansion, wisdom, and love.
Hello, namaste, and welcome to Soul Fusion Cafe. I'm Jess Juntunen, your grateful host for this hour of radiant wellness and soul forward living. And today's show and episode and moment, really, it's just about this moment, about seeing yourself, really seeing yourself, and notice the self in capital SELF, the self, the one that you truly are, that is guiding the one that maybe we think we are, right? The personality self and all those other aspects of us. Seeing your true self and live and work in the essence of who you really are. And I know a lot of us tuning in here, you get this. You absolutely, on the logical mind level, understand, yes, I want to, that's the work that we do in self-ascension or any consciousness awakening path, right? It's all the same, one and the same. Whatever your path is, right? Is really about discovering who we truly are and allowing that to be the guidance. And the rub is that we find ourselves sometimes still reverting to that personality piece of ourselves, the ego, as being the driver of the bus. It's so used to it. It's very sly and sneaky when it takes over, and that's okay. It's in the recognition. The mastery comes in the recognition of every time that happens. So may this episode, this moment, just inspire you to remember your true self. Let this be an hour where you just really sink into the knowing, the understanding of your true nature, and letting that unfold ever more fully. I think that's a beautiful moment and place to begin. So, really, how are you? Bring your hand to your heart. Take a breath. How are you doing right now? Check in and notice the different aspects or energy bodies as they are present. I love to start this way in client sessions, in my own day when I have the moment schedule this into your schedule where you check in. How am I? And do a scan. Maybe close your eyes and you sweep your awareness over your body. You start with your feet and go up. Sweep your awareness over your emotional body, your mental body, your spiritual, your energetic, and get a gauge for, which part of me is having a voice right now and what's it about. Listen for a moment. Bring the safe practice in. If something is really speaking loud, maybe you're feeling an emotional trigger. The beauty and mastery is in recognizing what part of our being is having the say and why, giving it that moment to express, and then lifting into our multidimensional presence. The fact that we are so much more and we are operating as these magical, amazing beings holding a space and a light, and really see from that bigger picture whatever is present in the physical or emotional or these other realms, and loving it. That's the mastery. Not that we're never going to feel these things again. It's checking in and seeing where you are. And in this moment, as you're checking in and seeing how you are, knowing that if you're here live, you can call in to this show. You can call in 517 208-1500 is that call-in number, and happy to receive questions about what's being shared, your own sharing if it relates to it, your own miracles that are happening in your life. If you'd like to request a mini reading, that is all available. So call in 517-208-1500. Our callers are such an important part of our shows and our community, because whenever one person shares or has a question or requests a reading, there's always something for everybody. And I love that. And if this is your first time tuning in, you're catching the recording, or you're like, hey, I can't get here at noon on Tuesdays, but I have a question or a request or a sharing, email me, Jess at selfascensionstudios.com. Would love to hear from you. I put the address of my website up. There's a contact form right in there that you can grab and shoot me a message, and I'm happy to bring your question or sharing to air if it fits, with the flow of this show. So please do. Or if you're unable to call in for whatever reason, you can always do that. So hopping over to the chat, we are broadcasting live at Oneness Talk Radio YouTube and Oneness Talk Radio Facebook, as well as onenesstalkradio.com. And you can chat in all these places. So it's really beautiful to say hello. Hello, Purple. Hello, Mary. Beautiful. Hello, Gary. And beautiful, and Angel. Beautiful beings all over, sharing and loving, and in this place it is incredible. So this is a community, this is a support moment, so it's always amazing to hop into our chat and connect with one another. And subscribe to Oneness Talk Radio on YouTube if you have not already. Subscribe, start paying attention, go check out the new vlog episode that is there with Shri and Kira. That's a whole new series only at Oneness Talk Radio. And especially tomorrow night, mark your calendar. I'm going to be part of a panelist of hosts, a panelist of beautiful other Oneness Talk Radio hosts, and Shri and Kira all coming together to share in a beautiful round table of panelists offering their perspectives, views on immunity, spirituality, all about, where we are in this COVID transitory world. It's called, oneness in a post-COVID world. We're definitely not after COVID, it's transitory, right? So we're coming together and sharing supports around, yes, how can you bolster your immunity? How can you support yourself in this new world? Are you working in new ways? Likely a lot of you are working in new ways. How do we navigate all this, and how do we lift our consciousness to meet that which is this big charge, right, in density, and it's everywhere. So how do we bring our consciousness to meet the COVID experience and move beyond the illusion and really support ourselves and our bodies and our lives? So that's 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, Wednesday evening, December 15th, 7 p.m. Eastern. You need to go to onenesstalkradio.com, right where we are on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribing here and make sure you join in. We're going to be taking questions from the audience and sharings and things like that as well. So it's an opportunity to be there with Shri and Kira and a whole panel of incredible hosts. So please, we do truly honor you and would love to have that blessing of receiving the co-creative moment of a whole new roundtable and discussion that will be happening on a monthly basis with different subjects and times. And I'm so blessed to be a part of this first voyage of this new webinar format. So honestly, thank you for being here and receiving that sharing. And, as we're tuning in and tapping in, again, that phone number, if you're feeling called to share something or have a question or want to request a mini reading, 517-208-1500 is that number. And we had a beautiful group of callers last week. We had the beautiful Kyla on. Go check out that show from last week on the YouTube. Here's the best way to find it, or at Oneness Talk Radio archives, because it was a really powerful show and we had so many incredible sharings. And I think that there is a lot of richness in that co-creative endeavor. And stay tuned because next week I will have another incredible surprise, beautiful guest that is getting lined up. So always amazing to welcome in other co-hosts, really, not so much a guest, but co-host to this show and space. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. And think about joining Monday Magic as well, if you have not, because last night you can still go and catch Monday Magic over at YouTube before it disappears. That's going to be at the official Shri and Kira YouTube. The first 30 minutes will be cut and put up, like the Ascension energy predictions and things. Those are so valuable every week to receive. So go over there and grab that at YouTube and grab that, sharing. And if you get this quick enough, you can go over and listen to the whole lesson of the Lost Books of the Essene. And really, what an incredible gift. And honestly, if you haven't joined this community, go get a sampling of what this is. Every Monday night, you can join us live at 7 p.m. And we're up leveling even how Monday Magic looks. The format is getting a reboot, and there's going to be so much more to share, but we're in the most important, powerful, culminating moment with the current lessons that we have been studying as part of the Monday Magic experience. So last night was, book 9 of the Lost Books of the Essene, and it was all about this discerned, awakened beingness and what that really means and feels. And I think these Monday Magics are so rich. Like, stay with them, watch it once, but watch it again, and join the Monday Magic. For a small donation, you can receive the PDFs that come, that are these beautiful documents that are up leveled and full of art and practices and practical, as well as deep, deep wisdom encoded within. So to really spend time with them written and encoded, and let yourself have the up level as a gift, and then you get the recordings as well. And soon there will be, a new format, but we'll continue to share so much about ascension energies and the forecasts and predictions every week, as well as really bringing in some more content and wisdom sharing. So the Lost Books of the Essene, give yourself the gift of really being with this journey right now, though. It's powerful. So just know, though, much more is coming. Much more is coming. So what was really striking to me in this message yesterday, and why I'm bringing it up, because it really does fall into this seeing yourself and this whole idea of discerned awakeness. And this quote that I'm looking for, to be in a discerned, awakened beingness is to recognize that indeed you are here. And that's profound. It's just recognizing that you're here, that whatever is happening, if you're having triggers, right? Remembering discerned awakened beingness indeed may trigger or initiate a greater understanding from the perspective of the brain. And we invite you to go into the merkabah of the face. So are you practicing with this? Really go look at this, the merkabah of the face, and activate that. And there is this, energy that comes forth as you just really offer yourself the gift of stepping into visualizing this merkabah, visualizing yourself stepping forward into your life, and knowing that it's really the journey itself, right? That we're on, that there's not a destination, and that this awakened beingness, this ability, I'm really looking for one quote. But I'm not finding where I wanted to see that. So, what the essence of it is, though, is to really get rid of the idea that you have to awaken, period. You're already here, right? Get rid of the idea that you're awakening. Just start taking action and just start doing it. And this whole seeing yourself is the action that I'm inviting today for you to try on. If you could get paid, and maybe you're already doing this, to be yourself, what does that look like for you? And think of payment as more than density concepts, abundance. If you had all the abundance of support that you needed to really express as yourself, what does that look like? And if you were actually being supported to be you, and that was your work, that was your life, that was everything, see yourself this way. The opportunities are there. Maybe you're perhaps in a place, a relationship, a work situation, whatever, where you're not feeling like you can fully be that essence of you. Really feel into that quote that Archangel Zadkiel has given us. If it does not bring you joy, why are you doing it? If it does not bring me joy, why am I doing it? And there's many layers to that. It's not, really be with it. It's not as simple as saying, oh, it doesn't bring me joy, so I shouldn't be doing it. Perhaps there is a joy in doing it. And perhaps there is something deeper for you to discover in the doing of wherever you are. And if you come to that point where you say, yeah, well, I know there's something else that will unlock and absolutely bring me into my greatest joy, then you know in that moment, but you have to get very clear. If it does not bring me joy, why am I doing it? And be present for whatever answers come forward. Be present, be present, be present. Awakening isn't about getting to a point where you just never feel these things again. It's not about never encountering another trigger again. Not going to happen while you're here on this beautiful earth in your form. Not possible. It's what you do when that happens. Can you just lovingly observe it? How can you really start seeing the self that's you? That merkabah of the face. There's a link to a beautiful video in that PDF that came last night with the lesson, if you have that. If you don't, it's shriankira.com/merkabah -of-the-face the video /. And, I wonder if I really can pull it up while we are actually talking here, because I think it's that important that you can see this if you don't know this practice, because that is the key to activating the remembrance of your multidimensional presence. Merkabah of the face video. We really should get this one over to our YouTube if it doesn't live there yet. And I'm waiting for that to load so I can drop the link. Okay, beautiful. Great. So if you're in the chat and you're able to see this and you're here live, if you are joining this as a recording and you're like, I really want this practice, please just shoot me an email, Jess@Self-Ascension Studios, and I will absolutely get you the link for this. Okay, perfect. Technology. Thank you for bearing with me. Beautiful. And just seeing other beautiful beings that are coming in the chat. I love that. Busy Bee, beautiful Angel, beautiful Alice, accidentally coming across the show. Wink, wink. Here we are. Beautiful moment. A bee. Hi. Awesome. So many beautiful beings here. Absolutely. Thank you, Mary. I think it is a great day and magical moment as well. And really, there's never an accident. Look at the beautiful beings that are here now gathering in the chat over at Facebook and YouTube, and maybe tuning in over at Oneness Talk Radio as well. Or if you're catching the recording, like there's a beautiful moment that is here, and thank you, Busy Bee. This artwork, I just love having this in my workspace and in my studio space, because it was created for me by Farron Peterson. And I know I have an episode she came on. It was probably almost 2 years ago. She's a beautiful artist from our community. And I know some of you in the chat probably know Farron. Farron Peterson, if you look her up, you'll see she'll channel an art piece for you. This is a channeled piece that she created for me. I gave her, some energy flow, but this is me essentially in the moment she created it. Isn't that incredible? And it just brings this awesome energy to the room. And of course, we've got our beautiful Archangel Michael needed to come in today, and Pyramid, and some of these incredible crystals that came from Tosa Blue Mountain in September, these beautiful rainbow crystals. And if you're there at New Year's Eve, there are some left, and I believe they're for our group that will be there at New Year's Eve. Good day, Iris. Nice to see you as well. And thank you for joining in the chat. So I dropped the link into the chat for you all for the Merkabah of the Face practice, because to really see yourself, this practice is absolutely the gift that will help you easily transport, transmute, alchemically transform into that which you truly are. And it's a simple practice. And the Merkabah of the Face, if you're just not familiar, or you just showed up and you're like, what is Jess talking about? Shri and Kira are beautiful mentors and teachers that are walking the path of the yoga of self-ascension and teaching it for 20 plus years continuously. And I've had the blessing of walking with them on my own journey for about a decade now, which is absolutely mind-blowing and incredible. I mean, literally, my kids grew up watching watching them, like, like it's Sesame Street, but it's Shri and Kira time. So they've been around and influencing so many people's lives in the best way possible. And I'm a teacher of the yoga of self-ascension, and I see other beings here in the chat that also are teachers of the yoga of self-ascension. So ask questions away if you want to in the chat. We have awesome community that's gathering in that place. And, and I see Alice sharing about the Merkabah. Speaking of amazing beings that really has been doing this work, and I love it. I've been using this practice actively most mornings for the past month, and it is amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And it really is the call to action, perhaps here for us all, to dig in, give yourself this opportunity of this practice. And if your mind wants to say, oh, it's going to take a while, or I do so many practices, just love it for whatever it's telling you, and really commit and gaze at yourself in the mirror and activate the Merkabah of your face. So, and what's the Merkabah, right? So again, I encourage you, check out Shri and Kira's work, shriandkira.com. Check out official Shri and Kira YouTube. Absolutely, for so much information and timely support. And the Merkabah of the face has been taught for quite a time. And the Merkabah is the vehicle of ascension, is how I see it. It's the portal. It's a 6-pointed star. So it's that opening. I mean, our whole body is a Merkabah. Our face has the Merkabah. We have all these Merkabahs all around us. And it is 2 triangles, right? One's facing down, one's facing up, and they interlay on a top of each other. And if you imagine them spinning and rotating in different directions, then you can start to see that this Merkabah, it's not just a stationary 6-pointed star you're gazing at. It very much becomes a portal of activation as it spins and rotates. Try to envision that when you're working with it and when you're working with your face, right? So you have your beautiful star consciousness. It lives above our third eye. And this is key. You want to be really activating your star consciousness. If you don't know how to do this one yet, please, shoot me an email or Google or YouTube official Shri and Kira star practice, and you will find the YouTube video, 5 minutes, that demonstrates the star practice for you. And really start working with your star, breathing up. So the top of the Merkabah is this point. It's really, there you go. There's the point. And it is like it comes down on either side of your eyes and crosses. I'm sorry, excuse me, that's incorrect. I'm thinking of a different practice. So it goes all the way down across either side of your eyes and comes across the mouth and connects. That's your top pyramid pointing up. The bottom pyramid points down, and it starts in the U of your neck, right here where my necklace is sitting, the Om. The U, that's the bottom point, and it comes up and it crosses the corners of your mouth, and then it goes over your eyes. So one that points up, one points down, and that's the merkabah of your face. And it's recommended grab a dry erase marker, go to the mirror and draw yourself, or get a photo out and draw your merkabah, because you have your own sacred geometry, your own portal. And the more you can connect with that and activate it, the more depth you're going to have in this experience of really diving into your own soul and seeing, and let your eyes soften as you gaze at yourself. Really radiate your star as you gaze at yourself. Anytime you catch yourself in the mirror, radiate your star and just breathe and activate the merkabah of your face. When you're in interactions with people, call it forward, bring a hand to your heart, or just take a moment to breathe and activate your star and your merkabah, and watch how your interactions flow and shift. And it is the moment, you guys. I mean, truly, I know it's possible to really see, love, know yourself, and have that get to be your experience every day, all day. That you get to be that experience in the work you do. And, there are jobs that we have to go to. And some of us are in that place. And some of us are in that place where we said, I'm done with that job and I am going to do what's aligned with my passion as my work. And if you're in that camp, I invite you to really relax that idea of work and what that means. And if you feel like you're in a more of a position where I'm like, I have a job that I go to, but it's not exactly um, the place where I feel like I can really be myself, and you're feeling the pressure of that, I invite you to really, really activate the merkaba of your face. Do it on your lunch break. Do it when you go to the bathroom. When I've worked at my jobs, I used the bathroom break as the time to do my spiritual like cleansing, right? You wash your hands and then clear your energy. Do the container practice. Do a couple of Ave Sa breaths. It really becomes a place where your brain remembers like, oh, okay, I'm taking care of myself when I go to my bathroom break at work. So how do you, if you have a desk or a place at work that you sit, how do you create that space? Or you drive a truck, right? Truck drivers make their cabs like their whole little universe, right? It's their home. How do you do that in your own workspace? If you're a driver or you're at a desk or you're in an office, how do you create that space to be more of a reflection of you? Are you ready to be the person that's like, yeah, I've got some crystals on my desk and pyramids to condition my space, because it's that important to maintain my own personal essence while I'm here. And if you're in that feeling of like, I'm in this job, but I know this is not my true calling and I know there's more, the more you can really support yourself and your essence and really be there. I love that. Busy. I have the chats up right now. Busy. Haha. I used to drive trucks, so I get it. I felt like we had a truck driver in here. Yeah, I really did. It's your whole little universe. I think it's amazing. But think about it, right? How do you, and put in the chat, Busy, how did you create your space to support you? How do you do that as you're navigating in your life, and how do you support yourself? Yvonne, yes, I love this big pyramid. These pyramids are incredible. And if you guys would like a pyramid, um, get to the store at shrinkira.com for products like this, and pyramids of, I don't know if I have others, but of all different. You can get smaller ones, you can get the bigger ones, but it's that golden ratio aspect that holds an energy field, right? That supports us. So tangent, but I love it. And really with the place that you work, it's like, how do you start to see it less like it's work that you go to and that it is separate from everything else? How do you really show up and command your presence? Even if you're feeling like, oh, really, you don't know my workplace, I couldn't do that. There are ways that you can do that, and I really invite you to show up for yourself. Show up really for yourself. And really, say, how am I going to interact differently with my coworkers, customers, my boss or the people I manage, whatever position you find yourself in. I mean, really, my favorite way to even express, how this worked for me is to talk about one of my favorite jobs, and it was working at a natural food co-op. It was also like the greatest soul journey place ever, because while it was also a favorite job, it also was not the healthiest place for me to thrive as who I was. And I tried many different ways, and I quit and went back to that job and to many different facets. I was a manager in one department. I was like, now I'm just going to work as a cook. Now I'm going to be, on the board. I joined the board. I quit working. I joined the board. I went back and forth. I'm never going back again. Sometimes I see people from there and they like joke about it. But I'm like, no, I got my PhD. I learned so much about people and dynamics and all of that. And it was a long time a part-time job that could support me while I had my healing practice, until it became like the balance. It wasn't supporting me the way I needed, and I needed to trust myself to make that leap, right? So, like, I mean, I get it. I get where anywhere you could be. I've also worked at, a desk 40 hours a week as a technical communicator, writer, organizer. My least favorite job that I probably had, because sitting at a desk for all day is really, really tough on me. But, sometimes that's where we're at. And what I did was really bring in, I was the lady. I didn't care. I had crystals and pictures and sacred images and objects all over the place to support me when I was there. And I really concentrated on connecting with the other people I worked with, from that level, like as I was learning all this, right? This level of more my presence and myself. So, really start trying on like being in your essence everywhere. And the same for relationships, like how are you showing up with your children or your parents or, people in your family or friends, coworkers, all those places? How are you showing up as yourself there, or how are you showing up in the way people expect you to be? One of my also uh things that gives me a chuckle is, in a part of my biological family, they all think that I'm always a certain way, that I'm just like this chaos storm. And, maybe there's a little bit of accuracy at times to that, but it's a method to my madness, but it's also not at all accurate as to who I am. And they don't really, bless them. But they don't really know me now. They see me as like, it's just how it is, right? In any long-standing relationship, especially family, they see you as who you were when you were 12 years old or 20 years old, or how you were, and define you that way now. So it's like, do you show up kind of taking on that role? Do you notice? You just, maybe it's like, oh, well, in your family, there's a lot of gossip about what all the other family members are doing, and you find yourself falling into that. That's one really, popular thing to do. Don't feel bad. It happens to everybody. You get hypnotized by the regular conversations that are happening in that place, right? So, how do you really start to like activate the merkabah of your face? Great start before you even walk in the door. Look in your rear view mirror of your car, have a little compact, look at yourself, activate, and then go into that space as you. And, if the conversation or how people define you or look at you doesn't match, you don't need to convince, you don't need to, say anything other than just to continue to be in your presence and communicate. I'm communicating, you can say, I'm communicating in new ways. I'm expressing myself in new ways. And I trust myself enough to know that. And, when you are really awakening, very common, a lot of people in your life might not like it. They might really want you to just stay exactly, that's what they're gonna want. They're gonna want you to stay exactly the way it was, and they wanna see you that way. We often breaks free, it shakes everybody up. So a lot of times beings, especially the most challenging ones in your life, they're going to really try to get you to stay at the vibrational level that helps them feel comfortable in their vibrational level. And there's a moment where you really have to get into that empowered presence that says, you know what, I thank you. Thank you for caring about me enough to share your concern, right? This is a great one that Shri and Kira teach, right? It's thank you. Thank you for your concern. Thank you for loving me so much to tell me that. However, I want you to know that I trust myself enough that I'm taking care of myself in new ways. And just watch the cat. There's no response. You're not coming from ego. You're only coming from yourself. And sometimes the response might not even, if there is a response, it will be a reaction, right? And they'll want you to go back into the drama or those places. That's all right. And sometimes you just have to walk away for a bit and just really be in your true nature and spend less time in those places if they're so triggering. You don't have to, I don't think this gets said enough. You don't have to have relationships with your biological family or old friends just because you've been friends for so long, or anybody else. You don't have to. And if you feel guilty or feel anything else, that's a great place of exploration as to why. And it doesn't mean you have to let everyone go. Don't freak out about that either. But it does mean you probably already, if you've been on this path for a bit or you're on it, like there's shifts that happen and some relationships fall away. And you really don't ever have to keep showing up and trying to be yourself if people are dedicated to pulling you down or not letting you be there. There's strategies where you can be your true self and be in presence with people that don't understand yet and they're still scared and they're still in density. But they have to also be willing to have respect for you and love for you to honor you and your choices. If there's somebody in your life that is trying to really control you, is damaging, if the relationship and interactions consistently are not of a meeting in a place of respect, you got to give yourself permission to break that. And you'll get your clarity moment sooner or later. And I mean, I've been through a lot of these to know. And if you need guidance or support, seriously, let me know or find a beautiful being to help coach and mentor and support you. We have so many at the Yoga of Self-Ascension, so many beautiful teachers and beings that are incredible coaches, or just find the counselor or therapist or the person that really resonates to support you to move through that moment. It's very magnetic and challenging, but I do want to definitely point that out. And being yourself does not mean you have to show up for abuse, for mistreatment, and um, just keep trying to be better yourself. If the other beings aren't willing to at least meet you in a place of respect, then you absolutely vamos, absolutely, and support yourself. So it's all the facets of our life, starting to see them as not facets, starting to see them as part of the whole. If you are a weekend spiritual warrior and you do all your spiritual practices on the weekend, and then you go to a 9 to 5 world, the Monday to Friday world, and you're a different person, it's going to hurt you and only you, really. And it will hurt others around you if you're hurting, and that's how it sometimes can stimulate us to take our action, is like, it's going to help everyone else. If we're not really honoring ourselves, we're hurting ourselves, and we're not able to serve others. And so many of us do want to serve others. So how do you really honor yourself and put yourself first? And how do you start to see, okay, how is my, if you feel like you have these other different worlds of relationships and work and your spirituality, how do you really bring yourself and your essence so it's in all of those and part of all of those, and that's really, in just asking the question. You don't have to know the answer. It's just in asking that question. And let's pop over to the phone line and bring in a caller. It looks like we've got B on the line. Come on in, B. Let's see, unmute. There you go. Namaste.
Namaste, Jess. You're talking about my favorite topic. I love business. I love working, and I love what I do. And I'm so happy about this topic. And I want to say about last night, the energy was so pumping last night. I couldn't fall asleep afterwards. I was like so energized for this community and so excited of all the things taking place. I can't wait for New Year's, and just this energy is amazing. I feel it already. I see it already, and I'm so excited to be a part of it.
You are part of it.
Amazing.
You're part of it. You're
I know.
co-creating it. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. So what I was going to tell you is, like, I remember, Jess, my first, I've done everything. I've done door-to-door sales. I've worked in the city in the tech industry. I didn't even know what I was doing my first job. I was a headhunter, and I was placing programmers. I had no clue about Java or other programming languages. And I remember walking in there, and they're like, so you're going to sell people. And I was like, sell people? That doesn't feel good. Well, you're selling their skills. I said, okay, all right. So, knowing sales at the time, I was like, I'm going to call everybody. I used to pretend that I knew what I was talking about. I couldn't tell you a thing about programming. And I remember it was like from a movie, Jess, where these people that I was working with, they're like, how is she getting all these sales? How is she placing all these people? And you know what it was, Jess? Now that I look back, I was connecting with the people that I was interviewing to place these jobs. Not only that, I was connecting with the people on the other side. And the more the company was getting upset, like, she doesn't even know what she's doing, but she's placing people. And they kept trying to pull me away and wanted me to follow their model. It didn't work with me. I left. I knew that was not for me.
Yes.
And, it's you have to be you in your essence, no matter what. And let me tell you, I started out I've owned a Quiznos sandwich shop. My family, I come from a business background. My family had a check cashier in the South Bronx. So I learned a lot watching my grandmother, who was the first in this country, an immigrant from Russia. And she bought a check casher, the first woman to be in check cashing. And they told her she wouldn't last 6 months, and she lasted, she made a legacy for us. So I came from that background. Like, she was a badass, didn't take crap from nobody. And I was like, I think the only way I can do this is if I'm work for myself. I was jumping from job to job. I probably sold everything in the book. So in order not to go into the family business, I decided to open up a Quiznos with family members and another partner. And you know what? I didn't want to do it. I just did it for other means. Well, I can't say that was all bad, because I met my husband from that. I even though I lost probably $250,000, I think it was a little more than that, in that business, I learned it was like the best college education. And I look back like, oh my God, I survived that. I walked away from it, but I got my husband and my kids out of that. And moving forward now, I forgot one other thing. I was an auctioneer. I got into that because of Quiznos. So, it's like, once you realize who you are, you can pretty much shift. And, I don't know what my next, I own a car service now, but I don't know what my next position will be, what next company I will own, because I cannot work for somebody unless I am my authentic self. I know that now. There's no going back.
There's no going back once you know it. Yeah.
There's no way. Once you reach, like my husband keeps telling me, he's like, there's levels to this shit. And I'm like, yeah, there is. There's levels. People are amazed. My drivers cannot believe the amount of money that I get. I get the most money in my industry. People think I have 100 cars. I really don't. That's between you and the community. I subcontract drivers, And I drive for other companies, and they're like, that person never tips me. You got the money you wanted, and you got extra money on top of that.
I love this.
And
I love this, B. And I'm just going to stop you for one moment because I want everyone to know that we had a whole beautiful episode that B was on maybe like 2 months ago. If you go to my playlist in YouTube, because this woman has this essence and authenticity down, and revisit that because her story and everything is so incredible and more than we can share right here. But yeah, in this moment, B, what can you share with us about, like how to really just let yourself be? What's one of your, your top tips here?
So you have to go in just being you. You have to put everything on the table. You have to be open. You have to be truly who you are. And this community allows you to do that. And once you get that, that's the connection. That's the light within you. And once you get that connection, and you don't want to let it stop.
That's the key.
So why not
when you're in the flow. You know when you're there.
You're there.
Yes.
And you know what? I love connecting to people. You're not driving with a chauffeur. You're driving with B. That's what I let people know.
I love this.
I let people know that you're with me. I'm here for you and only you. I don't bring anything else to the table. I don't bring my kids into it. I don't bring my outside worries. I bring my heart into it.
Oh, B.
I bring my connections from within.
Thank you so much for sharing your essence, and you are that living example of modeling self-ascension and really embodying the presence of who you are, and having done it even when you weren't so aware you were doing it, you always knew that the connection mattered, and that's what you bring forward, and that's the gift you've shared in this whole beautiful strand of co-creation after co-creation is absolutely stunning. And that's why I'm like, go watch that whole episode, because this woman's incredible. And it is because you have had that, you bring it to the table, you bring that truth to the table. And I bow before you and thank you for sharing this with our community today, because you're so inspiring. And I know, like, she can do it, you can do it, I can do it, right? We all can do this. And it's finding your way to be you, right?
That's the core of it. It's going within. It's being who you are, not for anybody else but you.
Thank you. Well, thank you, B. I'm so grateful you called in, and we've had this a beautiful edition. I love you so much, and I'm going to be seeing you soon. And thank you. I bow before you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Beautiful. Honestly, yeah, go check out that episode of Soul Fusion Cafe with her. And these sharings, it's so important when we share, because we receive and we are inspired by one another's sharings. And it is that evidence, when somebody says, like, yeah, I did what was true to me and look what I manifested. It's possible for you too. If it's possible for someone else, it's possible for me. And sometimes if you can't get to the place of, is it possible for me? I know what it's like to sit in the place of, like, oh, they could do that, but I don't know if I could do that. But if you believe other people can do it, that's your opening. If someone else can do it, I can do it too. And that's where you put your work at. And I love some of the comments happening here about doing forgiveness for work, grieving phases, moving on. I love the beautiful support happening in the chat, like forgiveness work of self and others. And it usually comes down to forgiving ourselves is the, like, base level. And sometimes it's hard to get there with other people too, but usually it's ourselves that we hold the most for. So it really opened up that opportunity for mercy and forgiveness. And I love that this is being brought in, because to really be yourself, if you're carrying anger or resentment or grief or sadness, these are all normal things. However, when they are stuck in our energy field and you're feeling like, okay, I need to heal this and expand through this, these things are going to be present, and it is like layers. And sometimes we move through things and we think, oh, we got it. And then something else comes up in our world and brings it back into our focus, and we get to do some more work. And that should just be fun. Like, oh, I get to dive in. It's not even work. It just gets to be. It gets to be the moment where you're like, I get to dive in and become even more of who I am. And beautiful practices like forgiveness, that's a spiritual cleanse. So if you do feel stuck or anything anywhere, there's a 7-day forgiveness practice cleanse. I can send you the PDF. That's absolutely incredible if you follow it for 7 days. And I love the beautiful suggestions that are flowing here, and everything being shared. And oh, thank you, dear, beautiful Leslie. I love it. And, absolutely, we can all keep up. We can all keep up and release any sense of doubt that we can. And I love this, and I look at all these beautiful sharings and community and support that is coming in here. Love yourself wherever you are right now. Check in, like we started this call, check in with, is it the emotional body that's needing some more support? Is it feeling some hurt? Love yourself more. It's like the inner child is speaking. Don't put them in a closet and say, don't talk, right? What happens to that poor child? Show up for yourself. Be yourself partner, be yourself parent, and lean on others. We have to be arm in arm in 2022. We're not doing it alone. You're not alone. We're together. Join the New Year's Eve celebration and the miracle ensoulment that's going to come through on New Year's Eve, December 31. Go to streetandkira.com and register. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there live. And you can come in on live stream. And some of you I know that are here in the chat maybe are going to be there live. I see a few of you. But join the live stream and share it with others. Let's be there live in that moment. This is the moment of co-creation and humanity going forward. And it gets to get easier. It's a new world. It's a new time. Really say yes to you. Really do what you need to do to honor yourself first, and let everything else flow from there. It's been absolutely beautiful and incredible sharing this space with you. Check out selfascensionstudios.com, my website. I have discovery sessions there. If you feel like you need to get on a call and see if a session is even right for you, or I can point you to a resource, or if you would like to go and just visit what's there or send me an email, that's the place to do it. That's the place to reach out and get in touch with me. And, really stay tuned. Stay tuned. So make sure you're subscribed here at Oneness Talk Radio, and visit ShreeAndKira.com. Visit Shree and Kira's official YouTube. And, really give yourself everything that you deserve. And if you feel like you don't deserve, then love yourself even more right there. It's been an incredible hour here on Tuesdays at noon Eastern Time. Next week, we'll have a special, beautiful guest joining us. And until that time, just know that I'm right here sending you so much love, so much support, and together we truly are better. Allow yourself to have the most radiant, incredible day and week ahead. Namaste, many, many blessings, and have a beautiful rest of your day.
You've been listening to Soul Fusion Cafe with Jess Juntunen. Connect with Jess and learn more at her inspiration hub, selfascensionstudios.com, and over on Instagram at JoyLoveJess and Soul Fusion Cafe Radio, or over at Facebook at Self-Ascension Studios and Soul Fusion Cafe Radio. Thank you for listening. See you next week. Namaste and many blessings.